Today we will talk about what avatars are, what do they do, and how to connect with them, and more. So make sure you watch until the end of the video. Traditionally, in Hinduism, an avatar is a manifestation of a deity, an incarnation or embodiment of divinity. Incarnation is from the Latin and means in flesh. Sometimes divinity gives rise to divine beings, the avatars, who are unique expressions of divinity itself, incarnating into human form and not incarnational beings like you and me are. This means they do not have a long history of karma like us. Avatars come to this world to help facilitate the evolution of human consciousness. Oh, and they also can create new realms. You can think at avatars like different aspects of divinity incarnating in human form that come to planet Earth to help us become better human beings. In this video, I will speak of the 4 avatars I have the most connection with, who are Christ, Amma, Merlin, and Neem Karoli Baba. However, there has been more avatars through history like Krishna, Ramakrishna, Meher Baba, and Ram. Please be very careful of people who claim to be an avatar. The world is full of predators, impostors, charlatans who prey on the sick, the frail, and in need. Let's start with Mama Amma. An avatar of the Universal Mother to her devotees, Amma is an embodiment of love and compassion, insight and inspiration, wisdom and action, laughter and light. Amma is universal motherhood, which accepts and embraces everything. Her life is of forgiving and celebration. She is famous as the hugging saint because of her warm hugs that she gives to all her beloved children. Amma is short for Sri Mata Amritananda Mai. Amma was born in a poor fishing village in Kerala in the south of India in 1953. She was given the name Sudamani, which means ambrosial jewel, and her mother reported that baby Sudamani wasn't born crying as babies usually are, but with a beaming smile on her face. At 6 months, she could walk and talk, and by the age of 5, she was composing beautiful, extraordinarily profound hymns to her beloved Krishna. When Sudamani was 9, her mother became ill, and although being the brightest girl in her class, she had to drop out of school and take care of her entire family, with 7 brothers and sisters to feed and clothe, and animals to tend, working from dawn to midnight. On a Wednesday evening in the month of September 1975, when she was 22 years old, Amma manifested her first bhava as the bhava of Krishna, which translates into mood and refers to a spiritual attitude of becoming completely absorbed with divinity or manifesting traits of a certain divine being. She had just finished collecting grass for the cows and was returning home with her younger brother, Satesh, carrying a big bundle of grass on her head. As the two passed the entrance gate of their neighbor's house, she overheard the final verses of a sacred song being read aloud in the courtyard. At first, she appeared to be intently listening to the singing. Suddenly, her mood changed dramatically. The bundle of grass fell from her head, and she ran where the devotees gathered. Overwhelmed with divine bliss, her inner identification with the Lord overflowed into her external being, transforming her features and movement into those of Sri Krishna himself. Stunned, the devotees believed that Sri Krishna had indeed come to them suddenly in the form of this young village girl in order to bless them. News of Sudamani's divine manifestation spread quickly, and soon a large crowd gathered. Some skeptics raised objection to the little one's sudden divine mood, saying, "If you are really Lord Krishna, then you must show us proof through a miracle. Otherwise, how can we believe?" To whom she replied, "I'm not interested in making someone a believer by showing a miracle. My intention is not to show miracles. My goal is to inspire people with the desire for liberation through realization of their eternal self. Miracles are illusory. They are not the essence of spirituality. Not only that, once a miracle is shown, you will demand to see one again and again. I am here not to create desire, but to remove it. The skeptics insisted that if she showed them a miracle once, they will not ask again, and the non-believers even climbed into trees and perched on rooftops, hoping to expose her as a fraud. She then asked the doubter to bring her some water, which she sprinkles on her devotees as a sacred water. Then she asked the same man to dip his fingers in the remaining water, and the water had now become pure milk that was then distributed among the crowd. She then asked another disbeliever to dip his fingers into the milk pot, and now this had turned into a sweet pudding made of milk, bananas, raisins, and sugar. Now everyone present believed to be truly in the divine presence of Lord Krishna. The sweet pudding was distributed among more than 1,000 people gathered there, and yet the pot remained full to the edge of the container, and the sweet scent remained on everyone's hands for several days. The account of how Amma began hugging started with that and is known as the pudding miracle. After the pudding miracle, she first manifested the Baba mood of Krishna as she was hugging. Later on, she began to also manifest the Baba of the Divine Mother. Later on, she stopped the Krishna Baba and only manifested Devi, Divine Mother, Baba. Biography is translated in 31 languages, and her charity, called Embracing the World, is active in more than 40 countries around the world. Embracing the World exists to help alleviate the world's poor by helping to meet each of the 5 basic needs: food, shelter, education, healthcare, and livelihood. Amma's charitable social services cross all barriers of nationality, race, caste, and religion, and have drawn the attention of the world community. From hospitals for the sick, homes for the homeless, disaster relief, orphanages, hospices, free pensions, suicide prevention, to employment program, the list is endless. In 2002, the United Nations conferred the Gandhi King Award upon Amma. In 2005, Amma's organization, the Mata Amritananda Mahi Mat, was given special consultative status by the United Nations. She won so many awards and honors, and I will link the list in the description box below. Amma's ashram, the Amrita Puri, has a modern university, the Amrita University, that also offers a dual degree program in business with the State University of New York at Buffalo. Free healthcare, a vocational job training center. Her devotees include a number of celebrities like Lady Gaga, Demi Moore, and Isabella Gianni. The most famous example of avatar will be perhaps Jesus Christ, who was an avatar for the aspect of divinity of Christ consciousness. Christ is the embodiment of compassion and love. Although Jesus does not really need an introduction, however, we can say he was born in circa 6 before Christ in Bethlehem, but was originally from the small village of Nazareth. He was baptized by John the Baptist around the age of 30, and after his baptism, Jesus went to the Judean desert to fast and meditate for 40 days and nights. The temptation of Christ is told in the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, known as the Synoptic Gospels. The devil appeared and tempted Jesus 3 times, once to turn stone to bread, once to cast himself off a mountain where angels would have saved him, and once to offer him all the kingdoms of the world. All 3 times, Jesus rejected the devil's temptation and sent him off. He then begins teaching and performing miracles, and the crowd starts to welcome him and as the long-awaited Messiah. And this infuriates religious authorities of the time, and he gets arrested by the Jewish and Roman authorities and sentenced to death by crucifixion. He will be crucified on a Friday, and that day is now remembered in the Christian calendar as Good Friday. This is also the reason why many Christians do not eat red meat on Friday. After the crucifixion, his followers go to retrieve his body from the tomb, where it was laid, and they found it open, and Jesus' body was not there. This happened on a Sunday, and this day has now passed on to become the Easter celebration in Christianity. He appears to his disciples and to over 500 followers for the following 6 weeks, and then on top of the Mount of Olives, Jesus rises up to heaven in front of his followers and disappears from view. Neem Karoli Baba was born as Lakshmi Narayan Sharma and is known to his followers as Maharaji. After being married by his parents at the age of 11, he left home to become a wandering sadhu, who is someone who has taken on a spiritual path and has renounced the worldly life. He then returns home after his father's request and lived a settled married life. He fathered 2 sons and 1 daughter. Karoli Baba encouraged service to others, seva, as the highest form of unconditional devotion to God. The simplest of stories were his teaching. Usually, he sat or lay on a wooden bench wrapped in a plaid blanket while a few devotees sat around him. Baba would say that attachment and ego are the greatest obstruction to the realization of God, and that the learned man and the fool are alike as long as there is attachment and ego in the physical body. Maharaji established at least 108 temples, fed millions of people, advised governments and corporate leaders, performed what can be called miracles, brought grace into the lives of countless suffering people, all while he remained out of the public eye. Many call him the Miracle Baba. Once Baba gave his son eyesight back after 22 pieces of glass had pierced his eye, and the damage was so bad that he became blind, and many doctors failed to treat him. If you would like to hear more about Neem Karoli Baba's miracles, I would recommend you reading Miracle of Love by Ram Dass. I will link it in the description box below, with a series of books you can also read about. Maharaji seems to be continually visiting people and helping them since he died in 1973, as avatars are a direct expression of divinity, and for divinity, no time or space. Thus, avatars remain the same either with a body or without. Maharaji is often depicted as a monkey, symbolizing the Hindu lord Hanuman, who represents undying devotion, loyalty, and selfless duty. The mystery of Baba's modest ashram would attract a stream of American tech titans such as Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, Mark Zuckerberg, the guy from Facebook, Larry Page from Google, and also Jeffrey Skoll, the co-founder of eBay, who all went on a pilgrimage to the ashram in Kainchi. Julia Roberts was also influenced by Neem Karoli Baba. It was the picture of Baba who drew the Hollywood actress to Hinduism. Maharaji is known and documented to be in multiple places at the same time. I will link down below a series of resources you can look in if you want to know more about Neem Karoli Baba. Merlin is the aspect of divinity of magical transformation and is the divine source that manifests healing and transformation in the VortexHealing lineage. The Merlin of the Arthurian legend, who is probably popping up in your mind now with a long beard, robes, and a super cool wizard hat, was just a normal human teacher of this lineage. There has been an incarnated avatar of Merlin, and his name was Mahendra, and he lived in India around 5,600 years ago. So, how can you have a connection with a particular avatar if they are alive? Like in the case of Amma, I would strongly encourage you to meet them in person. However, they do not need to be alive in order to connect with them. A way to do it is to listen to their mantras or meditate on their picture if there is one. For Amma, you could listen to the 1000 names of Amma, Sri Lalita Sahasranamam mantra, and for Neem Karoli Baba, the Ram Ram mantra. You can also listen here on YouTube, where you can also find his voice chanting the mantra. This is a picture of a place in India called Arya Samaj Mandir, where Mahendra was. you can meditate on this picture and try to tune into it if you want to connect with Merlin. And this is the end of the video. I hope you have enjoyed it or found it helpful. Please give it a thumb up if that's so, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Ciao for now.